Rachel Wilson stepped into the prison unaware that her worst punishment would come not from inmates, but from the dark impulses that would drag her into a living nightmare. Zela Santiago thought she had her work under control until she fell into a dangerous game of passion that would pull her into ruin. And they weren't the only ones. From unleashed passions to moments of betrayal, these relationships became true nightmares for the prison system. Think you've heard it all when it comes to prison scandals? Prepare yourself, as these stories will leave you speechless. Kuana Jenkins. Kuana Jenkins, a 36-year-old detention officer at the Fulton County Sheriff Department since December 2019, found herself at the center of a scandal that has shaken the correctional system. Investigators confiscated several contraband items, including 11 cell phones. One of these devices became pivotal in exposing Jenkins' misconduct, as it contained a video showing her engaging in inappropriate behavior with an inmate. The footage revealed shocking details about Jenkins' actions, showing her sitting on the inmate's lap and sharing kisses. The video clearly depicted a level of intimacy that is strictly forbidden in correctional facilities, raising immediate concerns about security protocols and the integrity of her role as an officer. The situation escalated when the inmate could be heard demanding a pair of designer sunglasses, specifically stating, "Give them to me. Give them to me." Jenkins complied, handing over a pair of Cartier sunglasses to the inmate, further highlighting her blatant disregard for the rules governing interactions between staff and inmates. Upon discovering the incriminating evidence, authorities acted quickly. Sheriff Pat Labott was notified of the situation and promptly terminated Jenkins' employment, citing her serious violations of conduct and breach of her oath as a public official. In light of the evidence, Jenkins was arrested and faces several serious charges, including 2 counts of inappropriate sexual conduct by an employee or agent, 5 counts of violating the oath of a public official, 2 counts of reckless conduct, 2 counts of cruelty to inmates, and 1 count of providing a prohibited item to an inmate without authorization. This range of charges underscores the seriousness of her actions and the potential legal repercussions she faces. The incident has prompted a significant response from the Fulton County Sheriff's Department and has led to a review of internal procedures to prevent such violations in the future. This scandal tarnishes Jenkins' personal reputation and raises critical questions about the mechanisms of oversight and accountability within the correctional facility. The urgent need to enforce protocols becomes clear, as the actions of a single officer can jeopardize the integrity and security of the entire institution. The fallout from this case may lead to changes aimed at strengthening compliance and preventing future misconduct among staff. As legal proceedings against Jenkins unfold, the broader implications for the Fulton County Jail are becoming apparent. Joanne Hunter. Joanne Hunter, a 27-year-old prison officer at HMP Forest Bank in Salford, found herself embroiled in a scandal that not only jeopardized her career but also destabilized the prison's security. In December 2020, her attraction to an inmate transformed into an inappropriate relationship, marked by poor judgment and the thrill of the forbidden. This emotional connection quickly escalated to encounters and communications that crossed ethical and legal lines. What may have initially seemed harmless turned into a clandestine romance, leading Joan down a path of self-destruction. Such relationships between officials and inmates are particularly problematic, as they can result in manipulation and abuse of power, compromising the integrity of the correctional system. The situation became even more complicated when another inmate, upon learning of Joanne's relationship, decided to blackmail her. This inmate threatened to reveal the romance to the authorities, demanding favors in exchange for his silence. This blackmail not only plunged Joanne into emotional and professional turmoil, but also increased tension and risk within the prison environment. The pressure she faced led her to make ethically questionable decisions, becoming an unwitting accomplice to a system of manipulation and corruption. Joanne's inability to handle the situation appropriately only exacerbated her vulnerability, trapping her in a web of deceit and secrets that threatened to unravel at any moment. The climax of this drama arrived when the inmate who had blackmailed her was caught in his attempt to manipulate her. This incident triggered a formal investigation by the prison administration, which not only uncovered Joanne's forbidden relationship, but also revealed a pattern of inappropriate conduct. The administration found irrefutable evidence in the form of messages and call logs, leading to her suspension and subsequent prosecution for abuse of power and misconduct. The revelations surrounding her behavior made headlines, igniting a controversy that questioned the prison administration's ability to regulate its staff's conduct. The consequences of her actions were devastating for Joanne. She lost her job and faced the public trial that accompanied her case, subjecting her to an unrelenting social condemnation. Judge Rachel Smith warned that immediate Immediate custody is inevitable in cases like this, underscoring the seriousness of her situation. Despite pleading not guilty to certain charges, the emotional toll of her scandal left her in a precarious position. Her story serves as a reminder of the risks associated with inappropriate relationships within the correctional system and the complications that arise when officials fail to maintain the boundary between personal and professional. Joanne Hunter's case highlights the urgent need for training and oversight within the correctional service. In response to similar incidents, corruption prevention programs have been implanted in various prisons. While Hunter's confession rocked the British system, what happened in California would push the boundaries even further. Tina Gonzalez. Tina Gonzalez, a former correctional officer from Fresno County, now finds herself behind bars as a convicted felon after admitting to multiple crimes, including engaging in sexual acts with an inmate and providing him with drugs and a cell phone. Her story began during a time of personal vulnerability when she became emotionally involved with the inmate, quickly leading to a bond that resulted in severe violations of her professional standards. The relationship lasted over a year and was characterized by a pattern of behavior that compromised the safety of the facility and betrayed her duties as an officer. Gonzalez's actions did not go unnoticed by her colleagues. Her unusual demeanor and the preferential treatment she afforded the inmate sparked rumors that spread rapidly among the prison staff. The administration was compelled to investigate her conduct following growing discontent and suspicion from her peers. During the inquiry, inappropriate communications between Tina and the inmate were uncovered, revealing a series of breaches of prison protocols that endangered not only her but also her co-workers. Fresno County Sheriff's Assistant Steve McComas described Gonzalez's case as one of the worst he has seen in over 26 years on the job. He detailed that the former officer even went so far as to cut a hole in her pants to facilitate sexual conduct with the inmate, all while other inmates were present. This lack of judgment not only exposed Gonzalez, but also put the safety of other inmates and prison staff at risk. The trial resulted in a conviction for Gonzalez, who faced the possibility of a sentence of up to 16 months. However, Judge Michael Adiart, considering her lack of a criminal record and her admission of guilt, opted for a sentence of 210 days in jail. This decision, though more lenient than expected, emphasized the severity of her actions and how her behavior had derailed her career, endangering the safety of her colleagues. But Gonzalez's case wouldn't be the last to reveal the high cost of crossing the line. Nisha Newell. Nisha Newell, a prison officer at a correctional facility in the United States, became the focal point of a scandal that exposed the vulnerabilities of the prison system. Her story began with what seemed like an innocent connection to an inmate, which quickly escalated into an emotional relationship. Nisha's attraction to the prisoner led her to violate ethical and legal boundaries by bringing in prohibited items such as cell phones and drugs. This behavior not only jeopardized her position as a prison officer, but also fostered an atmosphere of favoritism that dramatically disrupted the dynamics within the facility. Inappropriate relationships between staff and inmates directly violate institutional regulations and can erode trust between inmates and staff, undermining the integrity of the correctional environment. Over time, the preferential treatment Nisha showed her lover did not go unnoticed. Other inmates began to sense the unfairness and favoritism, heightening tensions within the prison. This perception of bias affected not only the morale of the inmates, but also negatively influenced the behavior of other officers who felt compelled to question Nisha's ethics and professionalism. The atmosphere of distrust culminated in an anonymous tip that prompted the prison administration to initiate a formal investigation. During this process, text messages and testimonies from other inmates were collected, confirming the relationship and highlighting how personal connections can cross critical boundaries in an environment where safety is paramount. When she was finally confronted by the authorities, Nisha claimed her feelings for the inmate were genuine. However, her defense fell short against the evidence that incriminated her. The collected evidence was compelling enough for her to be arrested and charged with multiple offenses, including abuse of authority and contraband. The scandal not only marked the end of her career as a prison officer, but also transformed her into an inmate, forcing her to confront a system she had once been part of. This case underscores the seriousness of violating security protocols in prisons and how inappropriate relationships can lead to devastating consequences for those involved and the integrity of the prison system. The impact of this scandal was profound and felt throughout the prison administration. In response to the situation, stricter measures were decided upon to monitor the relationships between officers and inmates. This included introducing training on professional ethics and regulations for all staff. More frequent audits and reviews of interactions between guards and prisoners were also carried out, aimed at preventing preventing similar incidents in the future. These measures sought not only to restore trust in the system, but also to safeguard the safety and integrity of everyone who works and lives within the correctional environment. Her testimony reveals a personal struggle, as in her statement, she acknowledged the seriousness of her actions and how she had let down her family, friends, and the community. After being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, Nikisha also faced the reality that her decisions would have lasting repercussions on her life and the lives of others. She must register as a level 3 sex offender, a stigma that will follow her for years to come. Following the scandal surrounding Newell, our next story takes us across the Atlantic to the United Kingdom, where a forbidden relationship ignited a nationwide controversy. Officer at HMP Wandsworth. One of the cases that unsettled the British prison system involved an officer at HMP Wandsworth who engaged in a secret relationship with an inmate, violating every standard of professionalism. For a time, she managed to keep the relationship concealed until her behavior raised suspicions among her fellow officers. She even took risks by making clandestine visits and delivering items to the inmate, which sparked a scandal once her actions came to light. Prison authorities quickly initiated a formal investigation, uncovering a disturbing pattern of inappropriate conduct. The officer attempted to defend her actions by claiming a special connection with the inmate, but her superiors deemed this justification insufficient to avert her arrest. The incident prompted a review of the prison's policies, as her case exposed the risks that potential relationships pose to stability and control within the facility. Following the trial, she was sentenced and permanently dismissed, facing both legal and personal repercussions. This incident led HMP Wandsworth to enhance its internal controls to prevent other officers from finding themselves in similar situations that could threaten the institution's security. The outcome of this case in Wandsworth opens the door to yet another scandal within the system. Rachel Wilson. Rachel Wilson, a 27-year-old correctional officer, shocked many when her prohibited relationship with an inmate at her prison was revealed. Investigations showed that Wilson began an intimate relationship with this prisoner, disregarding all institutional norms. As the romance developed, it became clear that she engaged in risky behaviors that compromised the facility's security, including smuggling banned items. During their relationship, Rachel sent explicit messages and jeopardized her reputation by maintaining constant communication with her partner inside the jail. Their connection was so strong that, reportedly, the officer discussed their future together outside of prison on multiple occasions. However, these communications were intercepted, leading to a scandal that not only called her professionalism into question, but also the prison's security system. Authorities acted swiftly, initiating an investigation that resulted in Wilson's dismissal and legal charges against her. Her involvement in this relationship brought her to court, where the details of the situation became public, significantly impacting her life. Rachel lost her job, and the implicated inmate faced penalties, emphasizing how far a forbidden romance can escalate in a correctional setting. Wilson's story serves as a reminder of the delicate balance in such environments, but for the next correctional officer, danger and passion would intensify even more. Zela Santiago. Zela Marie Santiago, a 28-year-old correctional officer, was arrested on December 13th in South Carolina for having a sexual relationship with an inmate at the Union County Detention Center. According to arrest documents, Santiago admitted to deliberately engaging in sexual relations with the inmate. As a result of these actions, she faced 2 charges of first-degree sexual conduct with an inmate and was subsequently terminated from her position. The facility's administration did not overlook Zuleka's situation. The investigation revealed that her actions jeopardized the security of the establishment and the welfare of the inmates. The South Carolina Department of Corrections, or SCDC, emphasized the seriousness of the charges, reminding that the burden of proving guilt lies with the state once legal proceedings commence. The scandal surrounding her arrest impacted not only her career, but also questioned the public's trust in the correctional system. Zuleka's choice to engage with an inmate marked a significant downturn in her professional life, transforming her image from a respected officer to a figure involved in legal proceedings. The repercussions of her actions are significant for both her and the facility's administration. This case highlights the critical role of ethics in correctional work and the necessity of maintaining integrity in an environment where sensitive and high-security situations are managed. Like Santiago, our next correctional officer also broke the rules in a case that would emphasize the high stakes of involvement in this environment. Jemma Cal Birthweight. Jemma Cal Birthweight, a former deputy from the St. Clair County Sheriff's Office, became embroiled in a scandal that shocked the local community and correctional authorities. On April 18, 2022, allegations surfaced claiming that Cal Birthweight had engaged in inappropriate relationships with an inmate. Following these allegations, she was immediately placed on administrative leave while an investigation was initiated. In an environment where ethics and integrity are paramount, such accusations can have devastating consequences for both the individual and the institution. The investigation revealed that Cal Birthweight was involved in sexual activities with an inmate while the inmate was out of the building on a work pass. This finding was crucial, as it not only confirmed a violation of department policies, but also raised serious concerns about the safety and welfare of inmates and staff. Relationships between correctional officers and inmates are extremely delicate, and any breach of protocol can create an atmosphere of distrust and risk. On April 22nd, after accumulating evidence during the investigation, Cal Birthweight was terminated from her position at the sheriff's office. Sheriff Tim Donnellan stated that Cal Birthwaite's inappropriate conduct would not be tolerated, emphasizing the importance of accountability within his department. Such actions tarnish an individual's reputation and affect the public's perception of the effectiveness and professionalism of correctional authorities. Shortly after her dismissal, an arrest warrant was issued for Cal Birthweight. She turned herself into the authorities and was taken to the Sanilac County Jail, where she was granted a $10,000 bond. Cal Birthweight was charged with second-degree criminal sexual conduct with a prisoner, a charge that carries serious legal repercussions. The legal proceedings would not only determine her future, but also serve as a reminder of the consequences of violating conduct codes in the correctional system. From ethical boundaries to the perils of forbidden attraction, these stories of correctional officers reveal the darker side of relationships in high-security environments. Were you surprised? If these stories have impacted you and you want to learn more about similar cases, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos.